Hello everyone, today I bring to you one more tale from the Mahabharata. Now this one is a love story, out and out love story. I love this one. So long time back there used to be this king. His name was Dushyant. Now Dushyant had gone for hunting. He had gone for Mrigaya. So Mrigaya was basically when kings would go for hunting, would take a break from their regular work and basically go for camping. And hunting was their main activity. So one day, this particular king, whose name was Dushyant, was sitting below a tree. And while he was sitting and relaxing below a tree, he sees a deer rushing from one end to the other. Instinctively, he took out an arrow from his quiver and he started aiming at the deer. And just when the arrow was about to leave the bow, a girl rushed in and picked up the deer and started stroking and whispering words of comfort to the deer. She looks at the king and she says, "I know you're a king because I've already heard that a king has come here. But don't hunt these animals. They are my friends. They are my companions." The king was shocked because nobody speaks to a king like that. And it was not that she was rude. She just spoke with a lot of conviction and she said what she wanted to say. The king was so impressed that he extended his stay. He wanted to know her better. So first thing first, he had to know her name. So he asked her, "What's your name?" And she said, "My name is Shakuntala. When I was born, I was lying beside a river." Because there is a backstory of Shakuntala's birth. I'm not coming and talking about Shakuntala's birth here. But, Shakuntala was basically the daughter of Vishwamitra and Menaka, which is another story altogether. And then Menaka had left her beside her river. And she was protected by vultures. And when Rishi Kanna picked her up, she saw that the vultures were protecting this little baby with their wings. And so Kanna named her Shakuntala. Shakun, vultures, Shakuntala. And therefore instinctively Shakuntala had this connect with animals. And Dushyant has never seen a woman like this. So every day he would start talking to her because he extended his stay. And every day he would wait for her. And he would speak to her. They would speak about everything and anything. And Dushyant was falling deeply in love with her. He was falling in love with her, but he had to go back to his kingdom. So finally, he decided not to wait anymore. He should just go and speak to Shakuntala. He went and told Shakuntala, "Shakuntala, I love you." And Shakuntala also smiled. It was very obvious that she also felt the same way. And then Dushyant says that, "Shakuntala, I want to assure you that I'm not cheating you or anything like that. I want to marry you. And I want to marry you and make you my queen. But these promises are not false promises. So first thing first, we will go to your father. We will take his permission. We will tell your friends. And right here in the middle of the forest, we will get married with witnesses. Because that will be the Gandharv style marriage. And once I go back to my kingdom, I will come back with my people, with my family, and take you from here to my kingdom as my queen." So as discussed, they went to Kanna. Kanna gave them blessings and they decided to get married. They got married in the Gandhar style with friends as their witnesses, animals almost rejoicing in their joy. And Dushyant stayed back with Shakuntala for a few days. And Dushyant says, "Shakuntala, I have to go. I have to go to come back again to fetch you." Shakuntala, slightly teary-eyed, says bye-bye. And Dushyant leaves. Shakuntala is totally in Dushyant's thoughts. Like she was like only thinking about him. He was only thinking about her. They were just into each other. So none of them could really get each other out of their minds. So one day, Shakuntala was sitting inside a hut and thinking about Dushyant. What will it be like? When will he come to fetch me? And will he come to fetch me in that white dress, he said? Or is it the green dress? What should I wear? Should I wear red? Should I wear green? And all kinds of thoughts that a newlywed bride has. While she was thinking, right from far, she heard a knock. But she was so deep in her thoughts that the knock didn't register. And she started thinking and thinking and thinking about her love. The knock became louder, but she decided to avoid it because she wanted to think whether the sari would be red, whether would it be green, whether she'll wear bangles, whether it will be flower bangles or gold bangles. And she was thinking all kind of things, like a newlywed bride. And suddenly she heard someone saying Shakuntala. But she didn't want to be disturbed. She was in her own dream world. And she didn't want to come out of that world. And then the Shakuntala that she was hearing became a little louder. And then suddenly she heard a scream calling Shakuntala. And Shakuntala immediately broke out of her dream to check who's there. Shakuntala looked back and saw there was a sage standing right there with fire in his eyes, anger in his body, and pointing right at her. It was Durvasa. Durvasa was known to be a very, very short-tempered saint, and he would curse at the drop of an eyelid. And Shakuntala was literally cowering in fear because she knew that Durvasa had spoken out, had called out to her, but she didn't want to get out of her dreams. And then suddenly, as expected, Durvasa screams and says, Shakuntala, I screamed, I knocked, I called for you because I'm thirsty and I'm hungry. And here you are, you make a hungry and a thirsty saint wait. So I curse you. I curse you that whoever you are thinking about will forget you forever. Which meant Dushyant, her newlywed husband, will forget her forever. Now listening to this, her two best friends, Anasua and Priyamvada, rushed and literally started begging Durvasa and said, don't do this to her. She's just got married. She's just got married and she was only thinking about her husband. Isn't it natural for a woman to be in love and to think about the love of her life? Durvasa understood that, well, he has been a bit too rash in cursing. So he thought for a while and he said, okay, give me some food, give me some water. I'm very hungry, I'm very thirsty. So yes, they gave him lots of food and water. And once his thirst was quenched and once his hunger was satiated, he thought and he found a way. He said, Shakuntala, has Dushyant ever given you a gift? Shakuntala said, yes, he has given me a ring. Durvasa said, no worries. All that you have to do is you have to show this ring to Dushyant. And though I have cursed that he will forget you, yes, he will forget you. But if you show this ring to Dushyant, he will remember you again. Shakuntala was relieved. Anasua and Priyamvada, they were relieved. And Durvasa goes away happy. Thirst quenched, hunger satiated. Durvasa was happy. And the curse was diluted. Time flies. Dushyant hasn't come to pick up Shakuntala. Shakuntala gets to know that she's pregnant. And after a lot of deliberation, Kanna, Anasua, Priyamvada, they all thought that Shakuntala should go to meet Dushyant. And it was but natural because Durvasa's curse was anyway there. It was obvious that Dushyant had forgotten her. So yes, Shakuntala dresses up in a beautiful red sari. She's bejeweled. She's decked up in flowers. She's looking beautiful. She waves bye to her father, hugs her friends, strokes the little animals, and gets up on a boat to go to her husband, the king. She gets into the boat, and all that she is enjoying is the water, the nature, thinking a little bit about home, of course, but thinking much more about what will happen when she shows Dushyant the ring. She reaches the kingdom. My God, it was such a jazzy kingdom. It was amazing. So she reaches the kingdom, knocks the door, and says, I want to meet King Dushyant. Now there are soldiers, there are so many people. But Shakuntala looked so dignified and so confident that the soldiers knew that this woman, when she's saying that she wants to meet the king, she must have her own reasons. The soldiers didn't stop her. They said, we are taking you to the king's court. Shakuntala, beautiful, decked in flowers, walking like a queen, goes to meet her husband, followed by soldiers. And there she sees Dushyant, the love of her life, and the father of her would-be child. And Dushyant looks at this woman and says, wow, she's so beautiful. And yes, she's beautiful, and I don't know, she's tugging at my heartstrings somewhere. And Shakuntala says, Raja, don't you remember me? Dushyant says, remember? I just think you're a beautiful lady. Yes, tell me, what do you want from me? Shakuntala says, I'm your wife. And Dushyant, this time, was a little irritated. I mean, he's a king. Every other day, some woman or the other wants to marry him. And this woman walks in straight into his court and says that she is his wife. So Dushyant says, excuse me? And she says, yes, I'm your wife. And he says, no, I'm not married yet. Shakuntala says, you got married to me. We got married in the Gandhar style in the forest. Dushyant says, now, this is cheating. This is cheating. You're just trying to make up stories. You want some money? I'll get you some money. That's okay. I'll give you a few more gold coins. You want to stay in the kingdom? You want to work in the kingdom? It's okay. But no, I'm not married, and you might be very beautiful, but I'm not married. So why are you saying that you're my wife? Shakuntala's heart was breaking, and then she remembered what she has to do. She has to show Dushyant the ring. Otherwise, Dushyant anyway doesn't remember her. Durvasa's curse, you remember. So Shakuntala says, yes, I know you don't remember anything. You have given me a ring. I know that. I'm showing you the ring. She looks at her fingers, and then just when she's about to take out her ring, she sees her fingers are bare. There is no ring. She had worn a ring, but now there was no ring. And Shakuntala was embarrassed. She did not know what to do. And there was no ring. There was nothing. Shakuntala was embarrassed. Shakuntala felt terrible. And Shakuntala just did not know what to do. And Dushyant says, leave. Just leave my kingdom. You are one lady who is actually trying to take advantage of your beauty, and you just want to come and claim that I'm married to you. Oh, I see you're pregnant. Oh, okay, so you want me to be the father of your child. Leave my kingdom. He looks at his soldiers and he just signals them to take this woman out of his kingdom, out of his court. Shakuntala, heartbreaking, embarrassed, angry, ashamed, leaves the kingdom, leaves the court of Dushyant. Just when she was leaving, she looks back and says, "King, you will regret this." Dushyant says, "Leave." Shakuntala doesn't look back and leaves. Time flies. Dushyant did feel something, did feel a little awkward about that woman leaving. He does think of that scene sometimes, but then he puts it at the back of his mind. Time flies. And as time is going by and by and by, one day he hears that a fisherman has caught a very, very large fish, and he wants to dedicate that fish to the king. He wants the king to have the first piece of that beautiful, fleshy, lovely fish. So the king is very happy. Obviously, so many people would do that, no? They would give the first fruit or the first fish to their king. And Dushyant, yes, was a very well-loved king. So Dushyant calls the fisherman over to his court and says, "Where's the fish?" The fisherman picks up the fish and says, "King, here it is." And Dushyant says, "Now what do you want?" The fisherman says, "I want you to come with me to the royal kitchen, and I want the royal cook to cut across the stomach of the fish so that you see what lovely pink flesh the fish has." Dushyant says, "Okay, great." And they go into the royal kitchen. The royal kitchen with the royal cook. The fisherman is standing beside him. The royal cook takes the knife and starts cutting the fish. As he starts cutting the fish, suddenly he feels a metallic clang on his knife. And he wonders. And then he's cutting further, and the metallic clang. So he looks inside it, and he sees something metallic. Takes it out, washes it, and shows it to people around. Yes, to the king also around. And here it was, a ring. A ring with Dushyant's name written on it. Dushyant sees that ring, and suddenly he remembers a girl who saved a deer, a girl with whom he had spent hours talking, a girl to whom he had professed undying love, and a girl to whom he was married, and a girl whom he had driven out of his courts. And in a second, everything came back, and the king did not know what to do. Immediately he gathered his people and he decided that he'll go back to Kanna Muni's ashram so that he can get Shakuntala back. He rushed. He got everyone and he rushed straight to Kanna's ashram. When he went to Shakuntala's foster father and said, "Where is Shakuntala?" Kanna said, "She hasn't come back." "Where is she? I thought she's with you." Dushyant says, "No, I had asked her to leave. I could not recognize her." Kanna says, "Where's my daughter? Get my daughter back." And Dushyant doesn't know where is Kanna. Where is Shakuntala? Dushyant doesn't know anything. And Dushyant decides that he doesn't know what to do. He was in a fix. He was in such a fix that he thought he has to find a way. Yes, he had to find a way. So what he did is, he started going deeper into the forest. The same forest where he had met Shakuntala. He left Kanna's ashram and he started going deeper and deeper into the forest. He somehow felt that she will be amongst animals. The girl loved animals too much. And as he goes deeper and deeper, he sees a little boy. A little boy who has opened the mouth of a lion and was counting its teeth. So it was a huge lion. his mouth was opened by a little boy, and the boy was just counting his teeth. And Dushyant was looking at the whole thing with complete amazement. And he says, "Who are you?" And he says, "I'm Bharat." And he says, "Where do you stay?" And he says, "Right there across that river, there in that hut. My mother doesn't know that I have come out." Dushyant says, "You are such a little boy, you shouldn't be out alone." And the little boy says, "Don't tell my mother." Dushyant says, "Come, I'll take you to your mother." So Dushyant holds the little boy's hand, picks him up in the chariot, and takes him to his mother. And this little boy, from the chariot, calls out, "Ma." And the mother comes out from the hut to see where did her son go. And as she comes out, both of them, Dushyant and Bharat's mother, that little boy's mother, they freeze. Shakuntala was standing there, right in front of Dushyant. Both of them were meeting each other after years. And for a second, Dushyant couldn't say anything. And then he said, "Shakuntala, I have come back." But Shakuntala had so much of anger about the kind of hurt and humiliation she had felt. So she just kept quiet, and Dushyant said, "Shakuntala, please understand. I had forgotten everything. I could not remember anything. Come back. Come back with me and be my queen. And this son will be the next king. Come back." And he stretches his hand out. Shakuntala holds his hand, gets up on the chariot. Yes, they had waited too long. So they were together again. The two men and women who were in love. Fate had completely taken them apart. And now they were back again with their little son, Bharat, who became one of the most well-known kings in the Mahabharata. Welcome to the world of Mahabharata.